Okay, welcome back as we finish up commonalities and variations of Africa and the Americas. Our focus now is the alternatives to civilization in North America. Okay, there were semi-sedentary village-based societies that were established in the eastern woodlands of North America, Central America, the Caribbean islands, and the Amazon River Basin. Now, the ancestral Pueblo built pit houses and great houses. These are in the southwestern parts of North America, and they began maize cultivation in the second millennium BCE. And this only became the basis of settled agriculture around 600 or 800 CE. So it was 1,000 plus years before maize became the basis of settled agriculture in the southwestern part of North America. So there's a gradual adaptation of maize to the desert environment was required in order for maize to become the basis of settled agriculture. And then we see the establishment of more permanent villages. Pit houses were created in small settlements, and by 900 CE, many villages also had larger ceremonial structures known as kivas. And the local trading networks linked a lot of these settlements, and sometimes even wider webs of exchange and commerce. And so we see a slow start with agricultural and settled societies in North America. Mesoamerica introduced maize to North America. But due to the harsh climate, it took several centuries for a maize-based agricultural society to develop. And initially, dwellings were small pit houses dug into the ground, usually with buffalo hide for shelter. And the kivas, or what's known as the ceremonial pits, were used for rituals and demonstrated the belief that humans came from the ground. And then there's the development of the larger settlements known as pueblos. And the most spectacular was the one that was created in Chaco Canyon. The largest great house or town is what's known as Pueblo Bonito. Was 5 stories high with over 600 different rooms. They have hundreds of roads that radiated out of Chaco Canyon. Some believe were maybe a sacred landscape. But this Chaco Canyon phenomenon was about 860 to 1130 CE. So with settled agriculture, populations grew, and thus these larger settlements formed, like in Chaco Canyon and Pueblo Bonito, specifically there in Chaco Canyon. And these above-ground structures were known as pueblos. So the kivas were below ground there, like these ceremonial pits, but the pueblos were above ground. And around Chaco Canyon, 5 pueblos formed and established a road system that may have been more symbolic or religious as opposed to practical in its use, as they did not have the wheel or draft animals or beasts of burden. And here's an image of Chaco Canyon, Pueblo Bonito, or Pretty Village or Pretty Town, and that's name, of course, is Spanish. And it's an example of the ancestral Pueblo, probably at its highest point. So this would probably be maybe in the 11th century, the 1000s. The circular structures that are down below, right? Those are the kivas, right? Or the ceremonial pits that I spoke of earlier. Now, their prominence here all over, in the absence of really any major trash, probably that's persuaded many scholars to believe that this was more of a ritual center or a ceremonial site as opposed to a residential town. Okay. All right. The elite class included some highly skilled astronomers. Chaco Canyon was a center for turquoise production, And warfare increased with the extended drought after 1130 CE. And so, thus, by at least 1200, those great houses were abandoned. So, we see astronomy and art highly developed, but then warfare and eventually a collapse. There was a wide variety of sophisticated cultural achievements before this extended drought, but that significantly contributed to the Pueblo collapse. Okay, let's make our way over to the Mississippi River Valley. Here there's in the eastern woodlands of North America, specifically the Mississippi River Valley, developed agriculture on their own. So their own form of an agricultural revolution, roughly 2000 BCE, where crops weren't productive enough for fully settled agriculture until much later. And so that would, indirectly get maize and beans from Mesoamerica. So it gradually took a long time for settled agriculture here in the Mississippi River Valley. Oh, I see it's on there twice. That's okay. Okay. Okay, so with these societies, we see large earthen mounds. Burial mounds of the Hopewell culture, specifically. And the earliest was about 2000 BCE. Archaeologists have discovered massive earthworks that indicate a high level of social organization and wealth. And this is what's called the Hopewell culture, after the name of an archaeological site. Now, the most elaborate was established between 200 BCE and 400 CE. Now, the Hopewell built these large burial mounds and used geometric earthworks in order to do so. And many artifacts have been found within these burial mounds. And this is evidence of extensive trade as well as careful astronomical orientation. And one of those settlements, Cahokia, which is near present-day St. Louis, Missouri, this settlement became the dominant center of the region. It was a massive terraced pyramid of a population that could hold about 10,000, and evidence of long-distance trade networks. And the social complexity is evident, but weaker cultural unity. While there was trade and social stratification in large population centers, the linguistic divisions of the region did not allow the same cultural unity that characterized, for example, the Bantu world. The introduction of maize agriculture allowed for a larger population here in Cahokia. And the central mound, like I said, was a terraced pyramid of approximately 4 levels, and an extensive widespread trade network, as many artifacts have been found in Cahokia. And apparently, they had a stratified class system, similar to a smaller chiefdom, like among the Natchez in southwestern Mississippi. They had these paramount chiefs, or what's known as great sons, and they lived in luxury. And so there's a clear social elite, but the upper class people were required to marry commoners. And the Cahokia culture also possessed a significant military capacity. And here is the map that shows you where these cultures are located in the United States. So here we see in the southwestern part of North America the ancestral Pueblo, and the mound building cultures in the eastern woodlands, specifically the Hopewell culture, which has been found in Ohio along the Ohio River Valley, and in the Missouri near present-day St. Louis, Cahokia in the Mississippi River Valley. And that is the conclusion of our commonalities and variations between Africa and North America. I'll see you guys for the beginning of part 3, chapter 7, next week. All right, thanks for listening.